This is my third floss tube. It is my work in progress of Santa Baby by Terrence Nolan from Dimples Designs. Also ones I've got up on my wall that I've completed over the years. So Santa Baby is an out of print, I think it's out of print design. I've had the pattern for a number of years. I think I got it like in 2004. I've been stitching off and on since 2015. And to be perfectly honest, haven't made the progress that I wanted to make because I just haven't been stitching as much. So that's one of the reasons I am doing the floss tubes, is to give me an incentive to stitch more regularly. So that is what the completed design will look like, and this is where I am at with them. Santa Baby is, now I can't remember the stitches. So Santa Baby is being stitched on a 28 count D's Flog Jobelin. And mostly right now I've been working on the wing, trying to finish that up. And this week I managed to get this part, this little bit, and up in here. So it's coming along nicely. Mostly I just have the hat left. So for the ones on the wall, they're not in any particular order, mostly just the order that I'm coming across them. So the first one I've got here is, I think it's Angel of Love. It might be Love Angel. Can't really remember the phrasing of it. By Lavender and Lace. I finished this one in 2000. I honestly don't know when I started it, and I don't have a record of what the fabric is. It's probably a 32 count, I would say, linen. It is turned out quite nicely with the framing, and I love the patchwork nature of the dress, and I love the beads, and there's so many beads. So at the close-up, you can see the beads in her hair, and in her halo, the little ball-y thing, and in the dress. Now, I have to admit, the dress has been a bit fudged at times. It's not perfect, because I did it on on a higher count than what was recommended on the pattern. In some cases, the beads didn't fit very well, so I had to make some adjustments with bead counts and things like that. And as you can see, certainly I'm not sure if it was necessarily the framing or with the way I laid them, but there are some places where the beads are not laid very well, that they're a little bit off kilter. And certainly in some places, when you look up close, they're not very straight, just with the nature of stitching a long line of beads. But that being said, when you step back, you can't really tell. It looks pretty good. That's the Angel of Love. The next one I have is Santa of the Forest, also by Lavender and Lace. I'm not sure when I finished this. It's not very straight. It was before I kept a record, I think. It is actually on Petty Point. So I did this one mostly because there was a store that I know of that has a lot of Petty Point, or they had someone that did a lot of display models of Lavender and Lace and some Mirabilla in Petty Point. And I really liked them. I liked the way it looked. It was nice that, she did a beautiful job. So I did this one in Petty Point, and I think it turned out quite well. In areas where there were beads, I did substitute Krennic. So I think there was probably a lot of beads on the scepter and on the edges of the robes. I'm not 100% sure. I can't really remember. But they are in metallics. And that is my Petty Point Santa of the Forest. If you go up close, again, you can see, the fine detail of the stitching and the dust on the glass of the frame. So the next one is Fairy Flora. I think she's a Mirabilia. I don't think she's a Lavender and Lace by looking at the face. She was stitched, I started her in March of 2010 and I finished her in November of 2010. She is stitched on a 32 count cobblestone Belfast linen, and she's framed quite nicely with a silver frame and some velvet matting. And yeah, that is my Fairy Flora. So the next one I've got done is my Fairy Idol by Mirabilia. I tend to call it the Fairy's Bedroom. I stitched this on 28 count olive green casual linen. I started it in 2002 and I finished her totally in 2003. I did take a pause to do something else in the meantime. And quite a large project, a lot of stitches in there, a few beads, a few specialty threads with the wisp up and the tree. And yeah, that is the fairy's bedroom. And I'm just going to pause it here, and that is the full shot of the fairy's bedroom. So the next bit I've got here are my carousel ponies by Theresa Wentzler. As you can see, I've done all 4. They are framed in similar style frames. The only difference is the edging on the matting. I started them with the autumn horse and finished that one in 1994. And as far as I can tell, I finished the winter horse the last, and that was in, I want to say 2001. And did them over a number of years. And that, they're all together on the wall. And yeah, that's my carousel ponies. Hard to show them all up close just because of the way they're sitting on the wall. But that is Autumn. I love Theresa Wentzler's work with the beads and the quarter stitches and all the details. And so for the framing, I did a fairly neutral mat on the outside, but each of them has the inner mat is different so that it ties in the picture. And there's Summer with the fans and the sparklies in the fans. I can't really show spring with the Easter egg colors, and fall or winter with all the Christmas themes. And as a companion for the carousel ponies, I have got Theresa Wentzler's carousel. I've done this design actually twice, once for a friend and once for me. This one I did in 2010. The stitching turned out quite well. I'm not so happy with the framing, and I don't know if it's the framer's fault or my fault, but you can see where some of the tail ends have come through in the background. So I'm not quite sure if I should have done it on a darker color, if I should have trimmed up better, or if I should have picked a better framer. The one thing I did with this one that's a bit different is that it is 4 threads over 2. So it is very, very dense when you're looking at it, and you can see it through the glare of the glass. But that being said, I think it's turned out quite well. So the next one I've got here is Stretch, also by Theresa Wentzler. It is a pattern that I started in 2006. I finished it in 2007. I may have paused it at some point during the way. I often do. It is done on 28 count opalescent cassia linen. And you can see the sparklies in the fabric a little bit. And it's not a very big pattern of hers. And I think at the time it was a freebie. I know she's not designing anymore because of copyright issues and design issues and publishing issues, but her designs were lovely. So that is Stretch. I love the blues and the purples, and then the flame colors in the wings. And yeah, that was my Stretch. So what I've got here is another lavender and lace. This is Angel of Celtic Christmas. I made a few adjustments with it, primarily at the top where it says Noel. I didn't like Noel, so I took it out. It was because it fit inside the borders, it was easy enough to do that. The other big thing is that I did this as 1 over 2. No, sorry, 1 over 1. So it is very small. It's not quite petty point because it is full crosses, but it is small. And because it's smaller, I had to make a few adjustments, mostly with the beading. In a few places, I swapped out full-size beads to mini beads. So the beading is not exactly how it was in the chart, but I think it turned out very well for an experiment in differences. So that was done in 1998. And from a distance, other than the glare, it looks pretty darn good. I do have the others in her series, the spring and winter one, spring, summer, winter, and fall, which I have to do. In fact, I might do spring, maybe summer, the purple one next. So another Theresa Wentzler that I've got here is Peacock Tapestry. And this is my Peacock Tapestry, also by Theresa Wentzler. All I'm getting is a lot of glare. It's on 28 count light natural Jobelin. I started it in 2004 and finished it ultimately in 2006. I did pause for, I don't know, 6 months or so to work on something else, about halfway through. And that's her. It's quite a stunning piece. I love just the whole eye-catchiness of it. So this is Catnip Tea by Just Nan. It is it's a cute little sampler that I did. It didn't take me very long. I started it in February of 2005 and finished it in April. It's on 28 count antique green jaslyn. And like a lot of the Just Nans, it came with a little bead pack. So it's got some fancy beads, fancy stitches. And it's just a cute little piece. Now this is my Theresa Wentzler Dragon in the Castle, I think it is. This was the first cross stitch that I ever did. I don't have the dates for it, but it would have been in the early 1990s, I would think. Again, all I can see is that should be better. And so yeah, this was my first real cross stitch I did. I had done some crewel work before this, but I hadn't done cross stitch. I did a little cheap thing as a practice piece, some little knockoff thing. I think it was a fish, just to sort of learn the techniques. But that is the first real thing I ever did. And it's why I fell in love with Theresa Wentzler. Just the details that she has in her designs.